Welcome to Stranger Connections, where I celebrate wonderfully weird people and quirky stories. I'm your curious beast and host, Lisa David Olson, the practically world-famous business humorist, interactive speaker, and speaker trainer. So reach out to me if you want to reignite your team or your event, or you want to find your way to the TEDx stage. I'm your gal. But it's not about me today, is it? No. I'd like you to meet one of my online buddies. He's a sales speaker, sales exec, a sales expert. But wait, there's more. This pal is a podcaster, a business coach, and an author of, just 7 books. Maybe it's more by now. So please welcome the sales enablement nerd, the one and only sales marketing and technology guru, Mr. Phil Gerbyshak. Yay! What?
Yeah, woo! And the fan goes wild. Yay! Hey,
The
Lisa.
fan?
Yeah, that's you.
It is me. I'm so happy we finally connected. I've
Me too.
followed you and I listen to your podcasts. I always enjoy you do them live, right? Some of your shows?
I do. All of them.
Scary.
Nah, it's
Nah,
fun.
that's true. I mean, I'm an improv queen. I could do it, but that's
For
really
sure.
brave of you. That's definitely keeping it real.
Thanks.
So I know that a lot of the things I chase and follow about you are that you are like the sales guru of all. And back in the day when I used to help run a karate studio, I was like, one of your things is you say, I was back when dial up was a thing, and I can immediately
Yeah.
hear that sound. And I would take a phone book and actually cold call people in the phone book and just go, hey, have you heard about our karate studio? We've got 2 free weeks of lessons. And I'd say I got
Wow.
probably maybe 1 out of 10, if I'm remembering right. I mean, it's just so bizarre to think about cold calling like that. That's how old I am. How have things changed? Because it sounds like you've seen a lot of changes.
For sure. Well, that used to be 1 out of 10. Boy, if people got that now, Lisa, they'd be very happy. It's
Well,
probably
true.
one out of 200, 500 that people
Yeah.
actually even answer the phone the first time. And then it just keeps dwindling. So what's changed is we can research people now. I can know that maybe you run a karate studio for children. And I can know that you don't have kids, you don't have nephews, you don't have nieces, you don't have anybody that's a kid. Well, why would I call you then? So I can skip you. Or I could say, I can stalk you online and see that you got 11 kids and they're all about the same age that is required to be in my karate studio. So I could call them and say, Lisa, are you feeling overwhelmed? And do you need some help handling that? If
Ooh.
so, right? Because it's about how can I help you as opposed to how can I
True.
sell you. So the big change now is I believe, like Michael Gelb does in his book, Art of Connection, that it's connect and then solve. So connect with your problems, connect with your person, connect with your place. And then if and only if there's a problem, do we solve? Because frankly, there's too many people in the phone book to call them all. It used to be, we'd be like, okay, we start at A, we'd get maybe through to the C's or D's if we lived in a small town like I did, and then we'd have enough business. And then the next time we start in the D's and work E, F, G, H, okay, I'm done again. And then if I wanted to be really creative, we'd start in the Z's instead of the A's. And we dial backwards.
That's right.
Not
Start
literally
again.
backwards, but we start
Right.
right, but we start at the end of the alphabet. Well, now almost everybody has an online presence. And if they don't, you're like, is that a real person? Are they real? Or do they think they're so self-important that they don't need to be online? I mean, Warren Buffett probably has no social media, and that's okay. But even Barack Obama, former president, Donald Trump, they all have social media. So I think it's very interesting now that we know more about people's interests and probably most importantly, we know about their values. What is important to them? And that is really different now because it used to be we just demographically call. Then the next stage was psychographically. Now I believe it's value-graphically. David Allison wrote a good book about the death of demographics, all about value graphics. And I believe that's true now.
That's just insane to think about. You're right. And because I was immediately thinking, all right, well, online presence is what they will show you. I'll let you into the good side of my life. But you're right. I can tell if you're busy, you're stressed, you're whatever, you can tap into, oh, I know you like to read this kind of book. As creepy as it sounds, that's we're putting it all out there. And that is
Yeah,
one of the things that you have on your website is your focus must change from making content to making connections. I love making connections. I love to
too.
network and connect the right people. It doesn't cost anything. Good stuff comes back. I love to support people's posts because it's a feel good and it's like, hey, I'm watching you. I think your content is good, whatever. I mean, this is the stuff we can give each other that down the line, maybe you're the one they think of when somebody says, I need a humorous business speaker.
That's right. Yeah, we want to stay top of mind, and it's never been easier to be top of mind. I would say, though, it's harder and harder to get top of heart. And that's
Mm,
where we miss a lot of times because that's where we got to get people. We got to get them in the heart because it's great that they think of you, but why do they think of you? That's the heart piece. Why do they think of you? Do they think of you because you're really funny? Do they think of you because you're just present? Do they think of you because you're smart? What reason do they think of you? And is that an important enough reason that if you pick up the phone, right? If you pick up your iPhone, are you in their contacts? That they'll actually answer the phone? Because if you're not in the contacts now, there's a setting that says ignore everybody who's not in my contacts.
oh,
Go right
right.
to voicemail. So now what do? Well, we better leave a darn good message and we better find a way to get in their phone. Because if we don't, they're never going to talk to us. Not because we don't have value, not because we're not good at what we do, but because we don't have enough of the value that they value
Hmm.
for them to put us in their phone.
When you say the word value and being top of heart, what are you thinking? What is the first thing you're attracted to that would be value?
Well, for me, right? For me, I would want someone to connect with me about something. So not just, hey, Phil, I really love your podcast, but I listened to this episode that you did with such and such, and better yet, I heard you on Lisa David Olson's show. And when you mentioned top of heart, that really connected with me. And here's why. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
looking for vulnerable to vulnerable. I'm looking for value to value because value is in the eye of the beholder, not beauty, but value is in the eye of the beholder. So I would spin that around and say, Lisa, what is it about me that you found valuable enough to put me on the show? And I'm happy to put you on the spot, but I don't mean to. What I mean is that's the
Yeah.
question we have to answer
Oh, it's
is why
absolutely your
is it?
adorable glasses. But in all seriousness, it is your brightness and that you one of the things that I can honestly say is there's been twice where you and I were on somebody else's group and we both disagreed with the person and it was in a gentle manner of going, hey, what do you think about my hair? I'm making this up. And she's asking about my hair. And you and I both were like, that's not where I'd be, but I see it. And then you two went on to say, still love ya. Yep, love ya. And then there was a different question on your page, and there was a couple of us going, not my thing. But we're still there and we're still commenting and we're still keeping your post in the algorithm. I know this. But it's also like, I know that you are that guy that if you ask it, you're not saying, "Hey, support me." You're saying, "I value what you think about what I'm asking." That
That's
attracts
right.
me to you very, very much. Very
Thank
few
you.
people can do that.
Yeah, well, it's so interesting. My friend Jay Akunzo wrote the other day that what's missing online is nuance. And I would add to that not only is nuance missing, but empathy is missing. If we add those two together, nuance, the gentle niggle, that's a little bit different than what I exactly typed. That's the nuance, right? What's the space between those words? What's the space between the sentences that you can't see, but if you believe in the good in people, you'll know there's something else there. And then the empathy of understanding that, you know what? Maybe Jay just had a bad day. Maybe Lisa just had a bad day. Maybe Phil just had a bad day. And you know what? I'm going to give you the grace to know that even if you blasted me to the moon, and let's be honest, I'm not perfect at this. I try my best. I'm not perfect at this. Even if you blast me to the moon, it's probably more about you than it is about me.
Yes.
So
Oh,
if we put
I
those
wish I
both
could keep that in
together,
the forefront. Oh,
oh,
that's so
same,
good.
right?
So
Same.
good.
Yeah.
That is true. You're right. If I could only remember that when somebody is being the keyboard troll, That's about you. And my adult sons, we talk about this a lot. When you engage in that kind of conversation, you just drop down a few IQ points because they snagged you in their web and there's nothing to be done. You're not going to win or change their mind. Just
Nope, not at all.
move along to puppy videos, you know? But when it comes to the online stuff for sales, that is huge in a sense that I would not want to be in that realm because I have done sales. I've done the whole let's chase the no. I don't know if you do that too. We're like, I'm looking for
Yeah,
10
go for
no's
no.
today. What's
Yeah,
that?
go for no. Andrea Waltz's book.
Oh,
Yep.
is it a book? Okay.
Yep.
I've just heard the, where it's you go for well, you explain it. You're the sales guru.
Well, go for no is many people will flip that and say, well, I want to go for the yes. Well, the yes is hard to get unless you get a bunch of no's. The law of big numbers says if I get 10 or 20 or 50 or 100 no's, I'm going to get a yes. Now, with that, I would also add that no answer is not a no. No answer is not a no. It's also not a yes. So I got to keep pushing. If I make 100 calls today and I get 37 no answers, that doesn't mean that I got 37 no's. I want to go for a decision. I
Mm,
want you to either, I like to say, I want you to buy or I want you to die, meaning you're dead in my system,
right.
right? And not literally die, right? I want
Correct.
you to
That would be
buy.
really bad. Yeah.
That would be bad. And that's a whole nother topic that I'm not a funeral director, so I won't talk about that. But right, we're going to buy, you're going to say yes, or you're going to get out of my pipeline and I'm going to close lost you. You're going to die. So if I can remember those things and I go for those, and like Andrea and Richard say, they go for no, well, we have a better chance. And their book is fantastic. It's super simple read. You go to goforno.com, you can learn all about them.
You have such a big brain. You remember all these books. I love that. I think that it's a good way to just start your day chasing the no. In other words, you're just going to accept that some things are not going to just land in your lap. And how are you going to roll forward with it? One of the things you say is you put in the long hours and you improve 1% or more every day. How can we measure that we're doing at least 1% better? And that does sound obtainable.
Yeah,
I
well,
did put
first,
my wash into the dryer before we got on here. So I'm feeling 1% right now.
there you go. That's good, right? So that is one way to do it, right? If my goal is by 5 o'clock, if tomorrow I get it by 4:55, well, that's better, right? That's better. If I meet if I'm trying to make 50 dials today, I'm in sales, and I get that by 4 o'clock instead of 4:30, well, that's better. If I get those 100 no's, well, that's better than 93 no's. Or it could just be, frankly, that instead of kicking myself in the head for all the mistakes I made, maybe tomorrow I kick myself just a little less. And that's 1%. It could be, exercise, right? If today I walk 30 minutes, tomorrow I could walk 31 minutes. That's a little bit better. So I think continuous improvement, first of all, you have to measure. Let's be clear.
Mm,
What gets measured are the things that get improved. So measure it. Secondly, know what does improvement look like in this space. What does 1% look better? Is it one more minute? Is it, you know what, today I'm going to drink one more jug of water? Okay, cool. Whatever it is, right? I'm going to do that. But measure, know what that looks like. And then third, go for it. Like, go for it. Try to be a little bit better. And then again, then remeasure and relook at what success looks like. And then readjust as needed. So that's how you do it.
yes, that is fantastic. And it is, if you go for the little bit, chances are you can do a little bit more.
Yeah,
Setting that 10-minute goal, it might turn into 15 and you don't even know it. So I
that's
like
right.
that. And it is obtainable. What are some of the challenges that if you can think of a company that you worked with recently that maybe they had something and you were able to flip that switch and give them an aha. I would love to hear some sort of story like that.
Sure. Well, I worked with a company that didn't track how many calls their sales reps were making.
Oh,
So yeah, so sometimes because they didn't have a CRM that tracked it for you automatically. So that's a suggestion. If you're listening to this and you want to improve your sales, get something that actually tracks your phone calls so that your reps don't have to. So I changed their world by giving them a sheet of paper that said just tick marks. I made 13 calls and I talked to 3 people today, and I changed their world. because they didn't
Wow.
realize how little effort they were actually putting in. They didn't like they had one of their sales reps that put in 3 calls a day on average because she always talked about how busy she was. But if she only made 3 outbound calls and never did she get anybody on the phone, well, now we have a problem here. So now, is this person in the right role or the wrong role? Should this person be in account management instead of an outbound sales role? Because she might be great at sales, but she might not be great at the hunting part, right? Sales has multi skills, so that was one of the big ones that I've had recently.
That is a big deal. And it's also telling the company where their money is going and where their training needs to go. Maybe she could have been better. Maybe by saying, all right, whoever gets to the 10th phone call gets this candy bar up on the counter or some fill in the blank healthy snack. Okay. But I think we all are a little bit competitive. I know we
I
are,
hope
whether
so.
it's a
In
chili
sales, we are.
cook-off or, yeah, in sales, it's all competition. So do that within your department and somebody wins this prize that's in a bag, you don't know what's in it. I mean, it could be so fun and so easy just to get that motivation. But if I was doing 3 calls a day and just talking about how busy I am and still got the same paycheck and nobody was checking on me, I was just being this, like compliant person, just blah. Yeah. I think that is a great story. And you're not even talking about fancy software.
No, well, it's not. So it's not about the tools.
Right.
To that point, right? It's always about the connection. What are we
Mm,
doing here, right? And about the measurement. Are we measuring? Do we have a real metric? Now, with that, I will say this. There are times where your team is going to just be using social media, and that is much harder to track. Most of the softwares
yeah.
don't allow you to track that. But
Right.
if someone is not on social media and they're not making calls and they're not sending email, those are the only 3 ways. I mean, unless they're faxing people and they move back to 1987, chances are they're not working.
My carrier pigeon has been doing a
Yeah.
fine job.
Okay. Very nice. Skippy is doing well.
Little Skippy, yep. So what about these books? Is it 7 or are you doing
No,
more?
7, but I'm working on the next one. The
I knew
next
it.
book, yeah, I'm working on the 7 habits of happy AF people. That'll be coming out later this year. My happy AF is what I'm doing for mindset training because I believe that mindset, what's between our ears, is the most important thing. So I am teaching people to be more happy AF, how to be more authentically fulfilled, happy AF. So now some people might think, well, Phil, that's not what AF means. And I would say, if the other AF makes you authentically fulfilled, go for it. That's perfectly fine.
It's whatever you desire.
That's right.
I think that is good. And you talked, so that is like a separate section of your business. Explain that pillar of your other
Well,
section.
yes and no. It's a separate focus, but absolutely mindset goes right into sales. Salespeople are used to getting kicked in the head. They're used to not getting their way. They're used to not winning. And so how do you stay resilient and strong mentally? Well, you
Hmm.
focus on happy. So one of the ways to do that is a gratitude journal. And
Oh,
a
yeah.
journal, when I say journal, people are like, they roll their eyes, are like, oh my gosh, you mean a piece of paper I have to write on? Well, maybe.
Homework, homework.
Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Or it could be as simple as slow down, take a deep breath, and think about 3 things that you're happy and grateful for right now. Just right
Yeah.
now. Think about those 3 things.
Hmm.
Okay, so now I've got those 3 things. And now, if there's a person in there, I want to send them energy. So, for instance, I am grateful for you, Lisa. So, I'm going to
Mm.
think about you. I'm going to pause. I'm going to think about that. And I'm just going to send you some love.
I like it. I'm sending some back, but it's not the
Thank
same
you.
one. It's not reused.
No,
It's brand
I
new just
appreciate
for
that.
you.
Yeah. You're not boomeranging my love. I appreciate that.
Never.
That's nice.
Though it
That's
sounds
good.
like a
Yeah.
great song title.
Yeah. But if I do that, right? If I do that as a sales rep
Yes.
and I
Yes.
focus on that, because we're going for no. I mean, there are some
Yes.
days you're going to get 0, not even no, but you're going to get a big 0.
Right.
Well, what's great about that? Well, guess what? The law of big numbers says if I get average, because I get my own metrics, and maybe my average is people pick up on average every 56 calls. I made 100 today and I got a 0. That means tomorrow, if I make 100 calls, I'm going to get 4.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow. I'm grateful then that I got 100 zeros. Nothing, because that means tomorrow's going to be better.
Yes, yes,
And it seems
absolutely.
simple, but it absolutely changes the game because now I focus on what I have instead of what I don't. I focus on what I get to do instead of what I got to do. And I really, really get extra energy from that, as opposed to, I'm Eeyore. Today sucks. Oh me, oh my. Nobody wants to be around Eeyore. Everybody wants to be around people who are positive and who are making work happen, because work is energy, right?
Yeah.
Scientifically, work is energy. So do the work, friends. More work begets more work in a good way, and you get more energy. And if you can get more energy, you can work smarter. And now, Friday afternoon, you've made those 450 calls because you average 100 a day. And now you've got 5 or 6 or 10 connects and, excuse me, 1 or 2 good connections of people that you can talk to next week to go
Mm.
deeper with and see if they want to actually do business with you. Now, that's a large, large number. And so help me, I hope that you people who are listening, their math isn't that poor. But if it is, then go for it and make it happen, because you'll see success if you keep going.
It's such a great mindset, and it's just so much energy. And how do you refuel then if it is a crap day and you're feeling 200 no's? And I mean, not every day can be the perfect orange colored day, as we both love orange. But so what do you do to revamp?
Well, one, I look back at yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
and I look back for other good days and I think about that. That's the first thing I do. So I can get re-energized from past energy. The second thing I do is I'll pick up the phone and I'll call a friend. I've got some folks that I care about that care about me, that I can pick up the phone and just say, "Hey, Chip, today sucked. Can you help me out here, buddy?" And Chip will make some off-color joke and we'll be happy and on our way, right?
Captain
He'll tell me,
Lutz?
yeah, that's
I
right.
knew
Yeah,
it.
you know,
I
Chip.
knew it.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
He'll
great.
tell me a poop joke and me and Chip will be fine, right? So, yep. So that'll be good. And I'll take that. And third is I'll read. So I've got a bunch of
Mm.
books behind me. I like to read, or I might listen to something. I've actually got a Happy AF show playlist on Spotify. I'll share it with you, Lisa, so that you can have that.
Yes,
And you can
please.
share it, put it in the show notes,
Yes.
because I think that's super important. We need some energy to get more energy. Like it, how do you recharge a dead battery? Well, you plug it in. How do you recharge a person who is running low on energy? Well, you plug them back in, right? And
Yes.
sometimes I'll give you the last one, and that is I'll take a nap.
Oh,
I'll just curl up and take a nap. I'll just like, okay. And sometimes I actually sleep, and sometimes I just rest my eyes. And what's funny is that totally rejuvenates me. Just 20, 30 minutes. I
yeah.
learned that from my dad. My dad, to this day, every day from about 8:20 until about 9 o'clock, he takes a nap because he was a farmer. So he'd be
Oh,
up in the
sure.
morning
He's
at
up at
4
5.
a.m. Yep, 4 or 5 o'clock. That's right.
Yes.
And so he'd have half a day in by 8 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah. So he'd take his little 20, 30 minute nap. They'd take the phone off the hook. Now
Oh,
he actually turns off his cell phone for 30 minutes.
yeah.
And that's the only time that he actually gets to rest.
Wow, that makes sense.
Yep.
One of my things I do if I think about someone, I generally send them a text or an email, usually a text, and just say, or a Facebook message. Anyway, just thought of you, made me smile, just thought you should know. And I love doing that because over the years, I'm getting them now. And I tell you what, they always come at the perfect time. It's just
It's
because
amazing.
sometimes, yeah, we hear our phone and it goes bleep and we go, now what? Is usually your response. But if you're getting enough of those, hey, just checking in, or or people send me Carol Burnett stuff because I'm a huge fan. They just send it to me out of the nowhere and they're like, I saw her, I thought of you. I'm like, oh, your heart just
Perfect.
goes, oh, I matter.
Yep. That's right. Yeah.
It doesn't
I tell people
cost.
no, I tell people that when I message them, I let them know, hey, you're on my heart today. So I had to reach out. I hope you're
I
doing
love
well.
that. Well, how can people connect and get at your newsletter?
So if you go to happyafnow.com, you can get my newsletter. My podcast is up there as well. So you just click on the little podcast tab on happyafnow.com. You get there. And then if you really want to connect, and you want to go more two-way, find me on LinkedIn. If you can
Mm.
spell Gerbyshak, you can find me, Gerbyshak. And I'm Phil. I'm not Paul. I'm not Patrick. I'm not Heather, not Thomas, not Joseph or Brock. Those are all the Gerbyshaks that are on LinkedIn. Just me, just Phil. I'm the one with the big cheesy smile, and I'm happy to connect with you.
If you blank on the first name, just think of Phil in the blank.
There you go. That'll work too, Lisa.
Hey.
That's really good. Except spell PHIL.
Well, if they figure out phonetics, come on. And also you are a very highly sought after speaker. People can see your reel on your website. The website is perfection, and you want to take a look at Phil and all of his energy and his happy audiences, and a lot of testimonials out there too. So I really invite everyone to get over to his website. But I can't let you skedaddle until I ask you to share a dare or a prank story, one you've done or had done to you.
Well, I'm going to share back in the day, I was a VP of IT.
What
So
did you just
long
say?
time, a vice president of information technology.
Oh, thank you. Okay.
Yeah, a VP of IT. So yeah, so back in the day, this long ago, our biggest prank was we would take people's mouse balls out and leave their mouse so that they couldn't move their mouse. Now that
I
was
was
really
drinking at the
funny.
wrong time.
Yeah, you were. Well, you asked the question.
I did
So,
ask.
right? So now you can't do that because most people have laser mouses.
Right.
So now if you want to prank them that way, take a clear piece of scotch tape, and a lot of times that'll do the exact same thing. So that was my favorite because people would be like, "Where's my balls?" And it was their mouse. So it was pretty fun.
Well, I use a tracking ball at work, so that would be pretty obvious about the dimmick. But
Yeah.
yes, I mean, back in the day, of course, it was like unplug the handset on the telephone, things like
Yep, that's
that.
right.
Oh my gosh. Okay, that was cute. That's really adorable. Pain-free. Nobody's going to get hurt.
Nope.
But yeah. Oh, that's so fantastic. Well, I am honored to have spoken with you today, Phil Gerbyshak. And remember that we can only be strangers once, and I invite you to stay weird.
That's very nice. Thank you. Well, I can't be any stranger than I already am, but you never know.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa.